Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Sociology Analytica. This is Pooja Prasanna, your sociology faculty. So let's start the second question today. So the second question is sociology a common sense? Question mark. Give reasons in support of your argument. Okay, is sociology a common sense? Question mark. Give reasons in support of your argument. It's a 10 marker question. 10 marker question means you have to write around 150 words. Okay. See now, as I told in yesterday's class, yesterday's video, that you have to choose the keyword and you have to start your definition, or you have to start your introduction from that keyword. So in this there are keywords. One is sociology and the other is common sense, as the more weightage among the two keywords is common sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a definition for what? For common sense. Understood? See, this is in a format, this particular question is in a format that you have to give reasons to support the argument. Do you believe sociology is common sense or do you not believe sociology is common sense, is what the question format is. See, you can take any stand. You can think that sociology is common sense. You may not think that sociology is not common sense. You may think that sociology can be sometimes common sense. Any stand, whatever the stand you can, you want to take, you can take. But whatever you take, you have to give reasons in that support. Okay, did you understand this question? Now, so let me start our introduction with the definition of common sense. See, again, the definition of common sense, you can write a generalized definition. But what I say is, instead of writing a generalized definition, it's better to write a definition given by a thinker. Okay, it's always better to write a definition given by thinker. And here I have just mentioned two like thinkers. You can you can choose any thinker you want. I have taken Weber and Alfred Schultz, anyone. So you don't have to write both, anyone you can write. Okay, so Weber has, what the definition is given, he has told common sense is a routine knowledge we have of our everyday world and activity. It's a simple definition. And Alfred Schultz has told in a similar way. What he has told, common sense, he sees common sense as what? An organized, typified stock of taken for granted knowledge which are generally not questioned. Okay, see, I'm not going to go in explaining because you would have studied by now. So you write any one of the definition, or if you can think of some other which is a valid definition, you can write. So this is our introductory para. Fine. So now moving on to the body of this particular question. So what is it? What it should focus? It should focus on the question, is sociology a common sense? See, what happens in most of the situation is that students tend to take a yes or no format. Is sociology common sense? What they'll do is, yes, sociology is common sense. Something like that they'll write. Some students, what they do? No, sociology is not common sense. Something like that they will write. See, let me tell you one thing. Please do not take this format. Please never ever take this format. Why? Because the moment you say yes, okay, or the moment you say no, what you have to do is you have to only write that arguments in support. You cannot write any other argument. Okay. See, UPSC always expects you to take a neutral stand. Sometimes you can take stand, but it always expects you to write both, whether write both arguments, this side of argument and the other side of argument, and then in conclusion you can take a stand. Never ever take a stand in first, then go with a answer. Write arguments both the side, then in the conclusion you can take a stand, or you can even you can take a neutral stand also. Fine. So what you do is you do not go for this format. Understand? So now what you have to do is you have to write both the arguments, that yes, sociology is common sense. Sociology is common sense, or sociology sometimes is treated as common sense, or sociology is it takes cues from common sense. So first write this argument and write few points under this argument. Okay. So again, here I have taken few points, that common sense, common sense is what? It's nothing but everyday activity. So whatever the knowledge you have about everyday activity is your commonsensical knowledge. It can be normal day-to-day activity knowledge, or it can be superstitious knowledge, it can be religious knowledge, it can be even folk wisdom also. Okay, your folk wisdom is very much close to sociological knowledge. Folk wisdom knowledge is nothing but commonsensical knowledge. It is very much close to sociological knowledge. So see, just don't write this, write a statement, and then please give an example. For all these things, you have to give an example. If you don't give an example, your answer will not be complete. So you can take any folk wisdom. For example, uh, you know, uh, you know, start calling a dog a bad dog. Okay, if you start calling a bad dog, eventually the dog will be considered as bad. Okay, whether it is, whether it is actually a bad dog or a good dog, it really doesn't matter. Okay, once you start calling a dog a bad dog, everyone in the colony will start treating it as a bad dog. So this is it's a folk wisdom. See, this wisdom or this knowledge can be taken for sociology, and we can actually understand our society also. So for this, in connecting to the first point, we can go to the second point, that is labeling theory. What is labeling theory? That is, if you start labeling a person, if you start telling that one person is bad, so eventually everybody will think that he's a bad person. So in a classrooms, let's say if you think that one person is studious, so everybody will start thinking, okay, this person is studious or this person is lazy, anything to that matter. So there is there's a sociologist called as Howard Becker, who actually gave this labeling theory. So what you have to do is write the content and then with the example or with the thinker's name. The next is social relationship and social setting. Again, the same thing. So most of the commonsensical knowledge, whatever it happens day to day, where it happens among the people, among the social relationship, it happens in the social setting, it happens in the society. Where does sociology happens? What does sociology study? Sociology also studies social relation. It also studies social setting. Understand? Next, one more point, it takes raw material. Sociology takes raw material from common sense. See, common sense may say something. Okay, so let's say that in the evening hours, there's a commonsensical knowledge that after 6 o'clock you should not cut your nails in the house. So it's a commonsensical knowledge, everybody just agrees. But then if you study from a scientific perspective, why does people used to say don't cut your nails inside? That's because during back in those days, there was no light, there was no electricity, so that is why people used to say such things. So commonsensical knowledge, that is stereotypical, religious and other knowledge, always gives some raw material for the sociologists to study. So what you have to do is you have to write the points and then give some example. Did you understand? So this is what sociology as common sense. Next is sociology is not common sense. Now next argument is that no, sociology is not common sense. We do not think that both the subjects are same. So what you have to do? Now you have to clearly explain one by one how do you think that it is not same. So I have taken few points, that is status quo versus change. That is sociology prefers change, whereas common sense prefers status quo. So lot of things, that is do not cross road when the black cat crosses, so that nobody as such has questioned. It's forever, generations after generation people are believing in that, we are also believing in that. But sociology is not like that. It keeps on asking the questions, it keeps on asking for the change. Okay, next is debunking attitude. What is debunking attitude? That is, you think, okay, you do not simply accept, you ask the question twice, you search for the morality, you ask the question rationally. This is nothing but debunking attitude, which common sense never has, but sociology always prefers what? Debunking attitude. Next is value laden versus value free. So what is value laden? Value laden is basically you put a value. Okay, so for example, girls should always be in the kitchen, boys should go out and work, or girls are always nurturers, they have to take care of the child, boys should go out. Understand? So these are the value laden, whereas sociology believes in value free. They do not put a value. Okay, they study the society as it is. Next, skeptic and self-correcting. That is sociology, suppose let's say that some sociologists believe that society is functional, but then Marxists came, they believe that no, society is not functional. So one sociologist might say something, but then the other sociologist will come, they will become skeptic, they will question, they'll debunk, and they will correct themselves. Understood? And next point is common sense is always puts a stereotype. As I said just now, I talked about it. Common sense always puts stereotype, that is, women has to be like this, lower caste people should eat only this food, higher caste people should eat this food. So all these are stereotype, whereas sociology never believes on stereotype. Understand? And next, finally, irrational explanation. Common sense always gives irrational explanation, like for example, poverty is because of previous life sin. In previous life you did something bad, so that is why you are poor now. Okay, in previous life you did something bad, that is why you are a Dalit now, or that is why you are a Shudra now. Whereas sociology, if you are a poor person, it doesn't believe that it's because of previous life. It will check what is your societal condition, what is your educational background, what is your current situation, etc, etc. Understand? See, what you have to do is you have to write all these points, and then finally what you have to, along with these points, you also have to little bit add, you also have to add the examples. Okay, one statement for everything, and then for every statement just give one example. Okay, I hope you understood. In the body, you have to take two arguments. Yes, sociology is common sense, one argument, and for that give some explanation, some points, and the other is sociology is not common sense, and then write some points. Understood? So this is the body. Now moving to the conclusion. See, conclusion, some may say that no, sociology cannot, it cannot be considered as common sense. Some may take, yes, sociology is common sense. See, that is totally up to you what you want to take a stand. There is nothing wrong in taking stand. Let me tell you, sometimes people say it might be wrong, but let me tell you, it is not wrong to take a stand. But what I say is, for such questions you can be neutral. It's better to be neutral. Okay, it's better to be neutral, that yes, sometimes sociology do take cues from common sense, but then commonsensical knowledge is to a greater extent different from the sociological knowledge, or how commonsensical knowledge try to understand society is completely different from the sociological knowledge. Something on a similar line you can actually conclude. Okay, see, you can also conclude from postmodernist viewpoint also, because what does postmodernists say? Postmodernists say that there is no single truth. Okay, there is no single truth, there is nothing like eternal truth. So what is common sense today? Okay, what is common sense today? It might become a sociological knowledge tomorrow. Okay, it might become a sociological knowledge tomorrow. So you cannot completely say that sociology is not common sense. Understand? So you can take a neutral stand in a generalized format, or you can end from the postmodernist viewpoint also. Understood? So it's a very simple question. What you have to do is just take a stand, write the introduction, write arguments in favor, write arguments against, and then in conclusion take a stand or take a neutral stand. Okay, understood? It's a very simple question. I hope you got how to write this answer. Again, I'll tell you, if you didn't get this format, it is totally fine. Keep practicing. Someday you will get into the format. Okay, and if you have any queries, please drop your queries in the comment section. Thank you all.